Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the list update where I run through 10 albums, 10 albums I've listened to since the last update. I know it's been a little bit since the beginning of the new year and now April, but we're here now, and these updates could be a cool way to remind ourselves of some of the great projects that y'all may have missed while I've been gone. So let's start with the big one.
Vultures 1 by Ye.
Not yet. Before we get into Vultures, let's check out other cooler artists who have not praised hit.
The New Bible by Hoodie Hilltop.
I can't get enough of Hoodie lately, as I finally got around to listening to their most recent release as of writing this, The New Bible. Transparency here, Hoodie's going to be on my next album coming out Friday, but I'm still going to recommend this album because it really fucking deserves it. There are a few sonic similarities to their previous release, Camp Cunt, but this entry is a lot darker, noisier, and a bit harsher as well, especially on the production. These beats are incredible. Another quality release from the homie. Be sure to drop them a follow below if you missed the opportunity the other 10,000 times I talked about them. They've also got another album coming soon, All American Massacre, as well as a great feature coming up on my album, Kid Stories. Did I mention I have an album coming out on Friday?
Basquiat of Bars to Repel Ghosts, Dred Scott.
Months and months ago, I mentioned getting around to listening to Dred Scott in one of my reviews, and I'm mad I didn't earlier because this album was fucking fantastic. He has a fire in his performance that I don't often hear outside of indie circles, and this is paired with some great production and amazing bars throughout. It's just a great listen through and through. Be sure to drop him a follow below or up here if you haven't already.
Vultures 1 by Ye and Ty Dolla $ign.
This was the absolute worst case scenario for this album. I like it. A lot. Don't worry, it's not like a 10 or anything. It's most definitely flawed, but to be fair, I was bracing for a slightly shined up Donda 2, and Back to Me was going to be the only good thing on it. But this is honestly the most fun Ye album in years, and I think Ty does a good job of not slouching here either. It'd be a lot better if Ye gave up controversy for controversy's sake, but outside of some obvious parts, this was honestly just an enjoyable experience for me. But per usual, I can't really recommend it because we're all complicit in the public mental unraveling of a very unstable man being propped up by a bunch of fucking grifters.
Inbred by Ethel Cain.
I walked into this album not really knowing who Ethel Cain was beyond people on TikTok talking about her, and from the album cover, I was expecting like a lingua ignota with maybe a little more polish to it or something like that, and I did get a little bit of that. But this project revels in the dramatic, somehow even more than Reverend Kristen Michael Hayter, especially in the production. I really enjoyed this short sampling of her work. I'll be sure to check out more of Ethel Cain in the future.
Die Lit by Playboy Carti.
Well, since Whole Lotta Red gave me my Carti awakening, I finally actually sat down and gave his acclaimed debut album a listen, especially since a vocal section of Carti's fan base claim to this day that this is his best project. I don't know quite what they're on about, because while this is a definitely well-produced album, with some really great highlights, it does run really long and really repetitive.
American Dream by 21 Savage.
I finally got around to listening to this most recent 21 Savage album, and I'm glad I did, because to me, this is his best outing yet. The bangers hit. The latter half gets introspective in a way that I hadn't expected or heard many people talk about since this album's come out. I've heard people say this album and 21 Savage as a whole is kind of one note, but this album makes me disagree with that statement.
Simple, Sweet, and Smiling by Casey Hill.
This is the most recent full album release by Casey Hill, with her previous outing, Is It Selfish If We Talk About Me Again, being a great entry into her spacious take on indie pop. This was a solid continuation of that idea, and while I would have been more interested to hear some expanding ambitions between projects, that should not take away from this absolutely solid album. Of course, be sure to drop her a follow below.
My Story's Got Stories by Bruiser Wolf.
After the standout track from Quaranta, YBP, I was interested in check out Bruiser. I was interested to check out Bruiser's recent solo album, and from the start, you get a sense of his lackadaisical flow that he showcased from that song. And over the run of the entire album, it really does become a very unique selling point. This project also mixes those slippery flows with a lot of hilarious wordplay and great beats. This is another one y'all definitely should not miss out on.
Big Science by Laurie Anderson.
So I know I'm very late to this, but I'm sure y'all remember the Oh Superman TikToks, the
Well, you don't know me, but I know you.
So the memes led me to another album in full to check out. And while it's definitely a rough listen at the start, by the time you hit the one song that everyone knows, I personally was hooked with the mix of very synthetic sounds and natural vocals, and the contrast between them throughout the album. The album is a lot more on the experimental side. It's almost like an 80s version of Medulla by Björk, but with a little more synth backing. But check it out for yourself, even if you just enjoy the meme. I think there's a lot to enjoy here.
Echoes of Silence by The Weeknd.
Even with my favorite Weeknd song of all time being on this album, I never listened to this project in full until now. And by God, I'm glad I fixed that, because this was easily the best Weeknd album I've heard yet. And that'll be it for the updates. Sorry, these are a bit out of date. I've been saving these reviews for a while, and I've got plenty more to show y'all in the next few weeks. Who knows, maybe one day I'll actually catch up to what people are talking about today. Be sure to let me know what artists or albums I should check out next, and I'll see y'all for the next round of reviews. Pieces. Did I mention I have an album coming out on Friday?